I must say that new voice is much less annoying.
Yes.
Hello, everybody.
Good morning. I'm slow moving today. Good morning. Welcome to the Sun Dragon Sideshow.
This is the Dear Becky and Lizzy, but
It would be the Dear Becky and
We
Lizzy
don't
if
have
we
a
had
question.
any questions, which is okay. If you feel bad for us, send us a question for next week. But it's okay. We just, I said to Liz this morning, we used to do Thursday show without questions. What did we talk about?
I don't know.
I'm finding my mask is harder to take on and off when I have one bun, but I think it's because I made my bun low today. I might have to readjust. Hello, good morning. I'm Rebecca. I'm the owner of Sun Dragon Art and Fiber. I don't know why I'm struggling over this. in sunny and probably going to be warm, but not super hot, Brevard, North Carolina.
I'm Liz. I'm the minion there.
So I'm getting distracted because I'm thinking about all the stuff we're doing today, which could potentially get really busy. We'll see. We have 2 appointments this morning and 1 this afternoon, and who knows what walk-ups is going to happen. The walk-ups tend to happen later in the day though. So
Yeah.
I will jinx us.
Like somewhere around lunchtime.
I will jinx us by saying that they'll happen this afternoon. How is your day going so far? Like, there's a good chance when we put this up, it won't be morning anymore. So
No.
I have my backup coffee this morning because I left my travel mug here for like 2 or 3 days. So I'm still working on this.
Okay.
Shocked. Yes. So anyway, hi, it's us. Oh, I have to point out that look, there's only a little hole.
Just a tiny little one.
Liz has been working on the wall. You did that Tuesday, I want to say.
Yeah.
Right?
Tuesday was a weird day because like in the morning it was no. And
The morning was depressing.
then, so I filled the hole and then I worked over on the Notion wall for a while.
Oh yes,
and-
we put up all the roving we talked about yesterday is up
Yeah.
on the Notion wall. And we could have done something where we gave you a tour again, but leave them wanting more or something.
Yeah.
I want to play around. We should be getting the converter today. So I want to play around with if we tried to use my phone to film. That might be some experiments next week, and you can tell us how much you like it or hate it. But today's normal. But yes, we have more. It's so funny because the yarn that's back there is not all dark and broody, but it looks dark and broody
It
on screen.
does.
No, maybe some of it is dark and broody.
Yeah.
It's the Motley, which is an alpaca and merino
Yes.
mix that honestly isn't selling very well. We're also not promoting it. Maybe we can put it on sale next week or something.
It's fun, but
I like it. It's by Sugar Bush, and Sugar Bush is no more. So what we have is what we have. It takes away the hardship of what should I order. I can't order it anymore. It's very sad. But not everything on the pretty wall is dark and broody. It's just what shows up on camera and how far the light reaches back there. So, like look over here. Look over here. That's light and pretty. And there's some good color up there. It's just not down there.
I should rearrange some, but I keep rearranging.
Shoulda,
it.
woulda, coulda, right? I mean, we're just busy enough because Tuesday afternoon, we had enough people show up. We had to ask some people to wait their turn. And then, which sounds like, oh my gosh, the hordes. It was like 6 people. But for us, that's hordes right now of people. And then some people walked in because we left the door unlocked, and we had 2 groups that we were
Already.
helping. We couldn't get to the door, and they walked in. At least they had masks on. That was nice. And I was just like, well, you're in here now. So
Holler if you need anything.
oh boy. And they kind of needed help, but they kind of didn't, but we didn't want them to feel neglected. So that is maybe that's what we can talk a little bit about today. I'm trying to find the balance again. For me as a shop owner, the different customers who enter a yarn shop.
Well, even in the before time.
Well, in the before time, this is what we're coming back to.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
In the before time, people would walk in and we would try and give them help, like not like fawn all over them, but like, you know, people are always asking questions and what kind of yarn and what are you looking for, and you know, shop tour, which you know is easy to point out if you're here.
You keep saying you know, they might not know. Sorry, it's a linguistic thing. I get
Yeah.
it. Okay. I'm being the literal one. Ha 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 ha.
But if we had like, we would have 10 or 15 people separate
All over
groups
the
of
shop.
people all over the shop,
And all over each other.
and they would all be asking questions at like the same.
And I would be, I remember standing at this table being like, okay, you, and now I'm trying to help you, and now, but you, but and people going, kind of being a little annoyed, but I'm trying to give everyone equal time. And now we have like the different levels of shoppers who come in. When people signed up for appointments, they knew they were going to get individual attention. So that was a little easier to control, and the expectations were at a certain level. And I think the people who didn't want help or that level of attention just didn't come by, you know, potentially.
Just want to browse.
Yeah. Well, those might have come by and we turned them away. Yeah. But so now when we're letting everybody in, just moderating traffic flow and masks, the things that we weren't sure we could do in the beginning. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But now we have to go back to kind of gauging it's a delicate art form that not everyone can master. And I will not claim that we have mastered it, but we do okay. You greet them, you give them the layout of the shop, you're getting all our insider tricks here, you know, and then you try to gauge their level of interaction. And usually you can tell if someone is just like, well, thank you. You know, the vibe is kind of pushing you away, you let them be. Because that's one end of the spectrum, and none of the parts of the spectrum are bad. They're just different. Yeah. But you have the people at the far end of the spectrum who are just like, get out of my face. I want to look around and I don't need your help. And I'm like that in many stores, especially if I'm going clothes shopping and stuff. There's a really good chance I'm a different personality depending on the store I'm in, you know, so I will just be like, get out of my face. Let me just do my thing. This is a personal experience. That's fine. But we also, then there's the people who give off that vibe, but they really do kind of want help. And
because it's overwhelming.
Because it could be because it's overwhelming in here, or it could be just a lot of knitters and crocheters are slightly introverted. Not all, you know, again, wide spectrum. And so that someone coming at you very chummy and, hey, we want to help you, can be a little like, can be as overwhelming as the shop. And so then it's kind of feeling out, okay, we'll check in with you a couple times. We'll put the feelers out. If you want to have conversation or help, we'll show you something and walk away. You know, that can open the door and kind of, so it's a communication dance per se, you know. And then there's the people that you can tell right away, they just want to talk. And we dive in, you know. So but with the more groups you have in the shop, the more it's like a server at a restaurant who has to keep track of what's going on at each table, is trying to keep track of, okay, that person won't mind if I go back in 10 seconds and ask how they're doing. And that person might need another minute and a half before we go in and say, you know, just checking to make sure you're okay. So we've been polishing up on our communication skills and everything.
And it's wonky, like the other day where we had two groups inside and we were pretty much at what we feel our capacity should be for being able to to help those groups
handle them, keep them confined. No,
help them effectively.
Yeah. And I always talk about giving them the treatment I feel that they deserve, that everybody deserves. Didn't mean to cut you off.
And a lot of times during the pandemic, we would lock the door just to be able to greet somebody at the door, but also so that if we were busy with customers,
we didn't have swarms.
Or people coming in that we didn't greet, and that, you know,
or know our protocols, or that group that came in, the two ladies who came in the other day had their masks on, and we went, whew, at least they have their masks on.
Because there was a couple of weeks ago, right when we started having customers just come in, we were in the back corner in the chunky section helping someone, and we hear
I thought I heard a
rustling.
random noise and I was like, did some yarn fall over on the other side of the shop?
No, it was a customer who had come in and
Was just standing there.
just yeah.
I think, did she have a mask on? I can't remember. I don't
can't
think she
remember.
did. I think we had to ask her to put a mask on.
Yeah.
And she was looking to match a very specific yarn, which I think only Joanne's carries. So we could not help her out, but I tried. But it was just like, our radar for people is if we're sitting here, we watch people walk up and we get ready. But if we're busy in the shop, it becomes difficult. And there are days when the traffic flow is super light and there's nothing to worry about on that end. And then there's days where suddenly everybody shows up at once. It's like they plan it, but they don't know each other.
There's the underground Sun Dragon website that's like,
yeah,
I'm going to Sun Dragon today. Are you going? And like 30 people all show up at one time.
I have to make clear for some of our listeners that is not a real thing. We don't think.
that's
we don't know. We joke about it. If it's real, please tell us where it is, so we can
monitor it.
We can say, oh, they're planning for 3:30 today.
Yeah, we're fairly certain that it doesn't exist, but
I wouldn't be surprised if somehow it does. But no, most of the people coming in are people who've never been in here before, and it's their first time. And yes, like Liz says, they're a little overwhelmed, or they think this is wonderful and they want to spend all day here. And the appointments say it's heavily suggestive language of a half an hour. It used to be like, you need to leave. And now even with cases rising with Delta, we're trying to do everything we can to mitigate. And it's harder to control and say, you got to get out now. So we're just trying to mitigate what is happening in the shop. Like what you're seeing right now is one of the only times anyone is maskless in this shop. And we hope that we're not hurting each other. I think back to when this show first started, COVID had not yet hit our shores. And I look at our thumbnails. I've said that multiple times. If you go back to the first episode, we're on episode like 152 now of the sideshow, with 2 episodes a week of that, and episode like 72 or something of the VSC, which is sandwiched in between. So do the math on all that of how many episodes we've done. But if you go back to the side by side show, or the sideshow, side by side was more when we were filming from home, but people still call it that. Yeah. We were right next to each other. And then as COVID numbers are picking up, we were trying to do the social distancing, and now it's just habit. I mean, it's also good for us to be, this isn't a full 6 feet, but at this point, if one of us has it, the other one has it. Cause we tried to avoid each other at the beginning, like walking around the shop. This is before we did masks.
Each other's bubble.
We are pretty much like family. Some people assume we're partners, which is hilarious, but sisters, I guess awesome.
Partners,
yeah. We family.
Yeah.
But we before we started masking all the time, we were trying not to get too close to each other. We're running the shop. And then my stepson, back in the olden days of relationships, my stepson came to stay with us, or no, he was staying with us. And then it was when he started going back and forth between households, and we didn't know what was happening when he's with his mom, that we started masking in the shop. And I remember the very first day I was like, in my head, I was just like, I don't know if I can do this. Wear the mask all day. I don't know. And that was months ago. We're fine.
Been over a year and a half.
Yeah.
Like we
didn't start masking right when the pandemic started. I want to say it might've been it was summertime. It was once the school year was over, because Alexander was with us.
We were wearing
for
masks
the whole school year.
We were wearing masks outside the shop to go to the post office and the grocery store in like late February.
And I wouldn't announce in a very loud voice, my assistant's making me wear this, because no one else was.
And then once the state had a mask mandate, we started wearing masks.
We might have been wearing them in the shop with each other before that, because this is ceramic. Because of Alexander coming back and forth. And we just wanted to, in case, there's this huge kerfluffle at home over what we would do, or if we would let Alexander come back. And what we decided on was trying to protect what was happening at the shop. saying I might be exposed. I'm not wearing a mask at home. But yeah. So, and people around here are finally starting to mask up a bit more. We just never stopped. So,
No.
but we don't need to let this get totally COVID. But that's life, right? So, but we still like we'll settle at the opposite ends of the screen. If we decide to film on my phone, I have no idea what the width will be. You know, that will be something to we might experiment with if we have time. We will probably be just busy enough so we don't have time to figure that out. But you know, but the dance with customers, I will say the flip side of the dance with customers of trying to figure out who wants attention and who doesn't, and who says they don't or gives off the vibes that they don't, but they really do. And who says they want attention, but gets a little overwhelmed with us being like, yarn, yarn. I mean, because that's kind of how we come off because we love it so much, you know. The flip side of that is I'd forgotten how many fun, like we had some of these during the pandemic, the height of the pandemic, because we're not through it. I'd forgotten how fun it was to have rewarding conversations with people and just to meet people and share, where are you on your yarn adventure? You know, are you visiting and want a token to take home? Are you new? Are you experienced? Are you experienced, but you think you're new? You know,
every now and then we will get somebody. Sometimes some of our knit nighters from far away will be like, hey, I'm going to be in town X time.
It's so fun.
That's awesome. And sometimes we get people that come in and they're like, oh, so this is where you film. And they like,
yeah,
it's not like, hey, I watch you guys, or you know,
they won't tell us, and then they'll come in and it'll be revealed because they go, ooh.
So this is where you film, and it's like, you watch us? What?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
but and then there's people who have no idea we have a YouTube channel, and we're just like, if you like the experience you've had in the shop of the Liz and Rebecca show on the moderate scale, you probably enjoy watching the show.
And
check it out.
Sometimes the Liz and Rebecca show is, you know, full-fledged, and sometimes we're busy and it's, you know,
it's just us being pleasant with people. But sometimes people get the whole emotional experience of us throwing barbs at each other and just snarky is between us. Snarky is a sign of good health.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's funny. I was thinking before we started filming, and this is going to be a different show today because this is just, we don't know what we want to talk about. No show notes, people. And I was like, what could we talk about? We could talk about.
And I was so helpful and went, I have no idea.
And I said, what do you think? Should we do this? Should we do that? Okay.
Whatever.
But that's usually me. What do you want for lunch? I don't know. Don't make me make a decision. It's been really fun. It's been really fun to have people in the shop again. It's still nerve-wracking because we're doing all we can to protect ourselves. And sometimes it's hard to hear when we're both talking through masks, but oftentimes it's fine. And it's really great to be able to show people around the shop. We're not quarantining yarn anymore. We're just, in theory, hand sanitizing more often. Or just trying to be conscious. I mean, I remember in the beginning, we were trying to be so conscious of where our hands were and not touching our faces. And I think I'm better at that, but probably not. You know, I probably just have stopped paying attention.
We still need to, you know, continue with every level of every layer, not necessarily
every layer of the Swiss cheese
method. Just as many layers as you can.
Masks, hand washing, and hand sanitizing. Distancing if possible.
Short amount of times indoors. Like
Delta can apparently spread with, like, the whole idea of 15 minutes throughout the day could mean exposure is now down to like 4 or 5. But so, you know, we've got an air filter box, which is not currently on at the moment, but we've got a way to try to filter the air. We're doing, again, another layer, right? If possible, we do stuff outside, especially if people don't want to wear masks, you know, that kind of thing. But it's been fun to talk about projects. I've forgotten what all the projects I've done during the pandemic. I still need to figure out what to do with all my sweaters they're folded back there, because I don't necessarily, I mean, I have thoughts. I'm thinking about maybe at some point I can do a sweater showcase up there instead of shawls. I've got behind you guys on the camera, I've got all these shawls out, although the shawls get everybody's attention. So it would be, where would I put them?
You could pick out 2 or 3 shawls. Actually, if you leave one side shawls and one side sweaters.
Oh, that's a possibility too. See, you're all, what do you all think? You can help us. You may or may not remember from the shop tour. I think we panned over there a little bit to show you all the samples. My issue with putting sweaters on display, we've got some in the back corner, but when they're on like just a 2-prong display rack,
they get wonky.
The shoulders get poked. You know, think about things you hang up in your closet with hangers that might stretch just a hair. You end up with the little hanger pokey things. And if they're sweaters I hope to wear at some point to show off in the shop or what have you, I don't really want them stretching out. So the only ones, we have these little child mannequin forms from IKEA. They are fantastic. I want to say it was Twist Fiber Studio who showed them, who told us about them. They collapse down. They're not super expensive. When we went to IKEA like 2 years ago,
it was before the shop opened.
We bought them out of the new shop.
Yeah.
We bought them out of all the ones we could. And so those are the only ones I would feel comfortable putting a sweater on, because it hopefully won't stretch it out.
We keep having thoughts about going to IKEA. Like, we should go to IKEA again.
There's lots of things we need from IKEA, but we're not going public places now and traveling and stuff like that.
And
so
IKEA is my crack. I'd go in a heartbeat, but not right now.
Well, I know I'm having thoughts about change. We barely changed things up for most of the pandemic because people weren't really coming in, and it was like, how do we display things so people can see it from the plaza? And part of that is they have to peer up against the window. You saw that in the shop tour to be able to see in. It's kind of hard to see stuff unless it's right against the window, because of the way the windows are tinted and the lighting and everything like that. But I could showcase, but you never know if the day that or the week you're going to showcase the sweaters, the people who come in the shop only want to look at shawls, and vice versa. And you can't make everyone happy. So, and I was sitting here thinking, what are we going to talk about and how are we going to fill the time? We did get started late today. We do have to wrap up soon. Actually, this is going to be, for us, not counting the first few episodes when I was freaked out about going over 5 minutes. This is gonna that was so weird. That was over a year and a half ago, though.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to wrap up soon because we have appointments coming in and a day to get ready for. And this works out, I think, because this was an interesting, different episode and we didn't have much time. So I'd like to I was like, we could show off shawls or sweaters or do things. And if you want to see any of that, if you want like a recap of all the things we've been working on, let us know in the comments. I did the same thing on my tips and tricks channel. I was like, I have to take off this week. Tell me in the comments what you want to see next week. No one say anything, which means I can do what I want. But if you want to weigh in on that, now, if everybody weighs in a different direction, there's a tie and we still get to pick. But if you have thoughts on what you'd like to see, you could spark interest in us to do something. So let us know in the comments. Tomorrow night, thinking of schedule and other things we want to say before we wrap up, because our appointment, I have a little thing I'm looking at right on our screen that says 7 minutes till our first appointment. Tomorrow night is knit night. 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join us from anywhere in the country if you can figure out the time difference. It's on Zoom with our shop phone number to get in.
828-877-3550.
If you would like us to talk about something other than what we want to talk about on Thursdays, send us an email or a card or a letter. And the emails go to
Liz@sundragonartandfiber.com.
all spelled out. It's in the description if you can get to the description of this video. Or you can send us a card or letter, like I said, at Dear Becky and Lizzy, Sun Dragon Art and Fiber, 35 South Broad Street, Brevard, North Carolina, 28712. And let's see, what else do we have? It's our anniversary month. We have been in business now officially, because we opened at the very end of July, We've been in business now for 4 years, which is so exciting. I still remember the first SAF we went to, the Southeastern Animal Fiber Fair, when I was like, I'm a 3-month-old yarn shop, yay! And I was so excited. And 4 years. And we're still here. And we're still doing well, actually. Like compared to last year, and that even compared to our previous years at the small shop, we are doing a-okay, which is fantastic. Compared to last year, we're doing gangbusters, which is great. Can't retire yet, but I don't want to, so it's okay. So our specials right now are every increment of $40. So starting at $40, and then every time you hit another $40 multiple, we will throw an extra reward stamp on your card. So say you spent, I've been giving the example of $45 instead of getting 4 stamps, because you usually get a stamp for every $10 on our file system here, you would get 5. If you went over $80, like say it was $85, you would, no, you'd get 10, because you get 1 for every
$80.
yeah.
Oh, never mind. You get 10.
Math.
Sorry, math.
But you're the one doing the stamps, so we'll just have to see. That's funny. If you think we haven't done it right, just contact us. That only applies to 4 purchases this month. So once you have, if you want to go over $40 4 times this month, that's fantastic. But you only get the extra stamps 4 of those times. If you go over $160, all these multiples of 4, we'll throw in either a dragon or a Viking shop pin. If you don't let us know, we pick. I'm sure we're going to have some flash sales. We just have been so busy, just busy enough. We haven't planned any of that out yet. So,
The month's still new.
The month is very new. If you want to get a special YouTube only sale, help us get to 600 subscribers. We are currently edging closer to 560 subscribers at the time of this filming. So help us help you by subscribing to this channel if you haven't already, because you might help others and yourself earn a sale. At least like and comment on this, because then more people get the ring the bell is so you get alerts when if you subscribed. It's fun, help other people see this channel, which is really cool. If you enjoy it, I bet others would too. And also, if you want to become a patron for as little as $3 a month, someone recently figured out how to do something in between our levels, which is pretty cool. So you can pick how much you would like to support us per month over on patreon.com/sundragon. So that all being said, I think we have to go and get ready for the day.
We have to go get ready.
Let us know what you think of this episode of us just being us.
Rambly.
Yay! Okay, we love you and we miss you, and stay safe and put a mask on if you're going to be around people, especially people you don't know, but maybe even people you do. And let's all get through this. Okay? Bye.